you get any Joyce's thing it's going to show?
Yes, I got it right there. It's right there. You're in the way.
Oh.
We're live. Hello, everybody. We're sitting here hunting a pen.
Okay. Get everything done here.
I'm working on it. Danny was going, "What happened to your pen?" I'm like, I must have had it in my hand doing something, and not being able to find my pen so he could write stuff down. But oh well.
Okay. There we go.
Hello, everybody. Danny and Wanda from Deep South Homestead.
Deep South Homestead.
Just kind of slightly.
The Deep South.
Yeah, and that one came from Walmart, and it says, "Hey y'all."
It says, "Hey y'all" down the bottom part of it.
And it's got 1817.
Hey y'all.
1817 is the year that Mississippi was became a state. So this came from Walmart. I saw them when we were going to the Great Appalachia Conference, and that's how old that shirt is.
That's how old that shirt is. It's the old shirt. We don't buy nothing new.
I got Danny and I one, and he's still wearing it. So, hello everybody. There,
man,
hello,
people from all over the country.
Texas Chopper made
hello
today.
Okay, Florida.
Okay, so let's start off with one of your weird stories.
What kind of weird story?
All right, last Saturday night I told y'all I had to go water the high tunnels after the live stream because I had let it go and it was really hot before the live stream.
Oh yeah, because it's too hot to even water them in the evening.
Yeah, so usually it's like dark.
Yeah.
And so I went out there and I'm watering away.
We call it dark 30.
Yeah, watering away, and I hear boom. Well, first off, I heard Danny on his Ranger riding around, and then I heard boom, and I'm like, okay, he's done found something. And after a while, I heard it again. I said, okay, he's found something. So tell him your story, because I was dying laughing. I can't help it. It's kind of funny.
I got a male rabbit that he refuses to leave his waterer alone. He literally chews it up every time I put anything in there, and I have to put him a dish in there now. And during the day, he runs out of water in the heat. And I told Wanda, I said, look, I know it's late at night, but I got to go put that rabbit some water. And so I jumped on my Ranger. She was going to water her high tone and my high tone. I said, well, I'll go water the rabbit. And this is like 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, it was close to 9.
So I jumped on my Ranger, and 99.9% of the time I have a weapon on me. But that night,
he was just going to run over.
I was just going to run over and put some water in the, in the waterer and run back. I was in my sweatpants and my shirt, and jumped on the Ranger, took off around by our chicken house, and we have pears that's been falling on the ground. We've been getting them for Wanda to make stuff with. And out from under that pear tree comes something black running across a pond dam. And I said, well, somebody's house cat, you know. And I pulled up on the pond dam. Well, I saw white on the top of the head. And I'm like, that ain't no house cat. So
skunk number 7?
Skunk number 7. So I backed up real quick to the Ranger and flew back to the house. Ran inside as good as I could run on my crippled knee. And got my shotgun, ran back out, got on the Ranger, and went back on the pond dam. And I looked, I couldn't find that skunk nowhere. And I said, I know he didn't disappear in these open fields that fast. And I was shining all out in the fields. I was shining where the cows was, no skunk nowhere. So I just went putting around on our property everywhere, just looking around, and couldn't find him nowhere. But our ponds are like 7 foot low now because we've got no rain, guys. I know a lot of y'all getting rain, but we ain't got none.
We got less than 1 inch 2 afternoons.
Yeah, both afternoons added up to less than 1 inch.
Yeah.
But anyway, the pond is so low. I was driving down in the edge of the dry part of the pond now, just idling along looking. And my headlights was headlight level with the spillway of the pond. And I looked in that spillway culvert, and I saw a big old black dot in the middle of that culvert. And I got closer to it, and I looked, and I said, that's that cotton-picking skunk balled up in my spillway culvert. And he thought he was hid. So I got out of the Ranger and crawled out there on my belly, and I laid down on the ground with a flashlight looking through that culvert with a shotgun, and I shot that rascal. and he went to flopping inside that culvert. Well, I was like, well, I didn't take no chances, so I shot him again. Well, then I couldn't find him. And I said, well, I guess I blowed him out the whole other end of the culvert. So I went back and got on the Ranger. And when I started driving toward the pond dam, my headlights was shining, and all I saw was this big cloud at the end of the pond dam. And I mean, this thing was like 30 feet wide and 30 feet high. And I was like, gosh, he stirred up a lot of dust, you know? I was like, man. I said, he done some flopping. And when I got closer to him, all of a sudden it hit me. He had sprayed everything he had to spray. And that's what my headlights was picking up in the dark. And I took off backwards panicking. Dadgum near run my Ranger off down in the pond because I don't have any brakes on mine because I hadn't had a chance to fix them, and it went rolling off down the hill. And I slammed it in forward gear, and it didn't want to go in gear, and I was like, I'm going underwater. And finally I got it in gear and took off back up the hill.
I was laughing when he told me I was in my high tunnel the whole time. I'm going
to tell you, I wasn't going to get in that. I knew what it was when I seen that cloud because I could smell it then. I was like, I ain't getting in this and get it all over me, you know?
I was laughing. I was going, oh my goodness. He said he was headed straight toward it because he thought it was dust.
I thought it was just dust because everything around here is just dust, you know? And then I had an incident this morning.
Well, no, you had another one with, it was the skunk Saturday night. Then you had one with, what was it, something else this week. The next day, it was Sunday or Monday, one.
You have to remind me because I don't.
A raccoon. Was it a raccoon? No, this morning it was over at the barn.
Yeah, it was an armadillo this morning.
But you had another one before that. I got to remember what it was.
I don't remember.
Tell about the armadillo.
Anyway, this morning I always feed my animals in the dark because it's like 4:30 to 5 o'clock in the morning when I get ready to leave here. And I drive over to my barn with my pickup truck and I get out with a flashlight and I go in and I water my rabbits, I feed my rabbits, I feed my cows, and I take care of everything I got to take care of before I hit the road. And I got out of the truck with my flashlight and I carry a pistol in my back pocket, but this morning I laid it on the seat because I didn't want to take it in there with me. And when I got out of the truck, as soon as I closed the door on the truck and went to turn my light on, I kept hearing something. I was like, and it sounded like something in the leaves because it's so dry that anything in the leaves makes a lot of racket here. And I couldn't find it. I was looking around everywhere with a flashlight. I said, there's something here somewhere. And all of a sudden, an armadillo ran right over my feet. Scared me slammed to death. I jumped sky high and seen that thing. And he was headed toward my barn where I was going to go in at. And I turned around, jerked the door open on the truck, grabbed my shotgun, and slammed the door on the truck, and I couldn't mash the button on the light fast enough, because this thumb, those of you who know, I pinched the end of it off with a wood splitter last year, and now I don't have any feeling in it. And I couldn't tell if I was mashing the light, and finally I got it on. But just as I got it on, he was starting to go under the door of my barn to go in. Well, I shot, and I thought I hit him, but then it got really, really quiet. Because I waited, and I said, well, surely he's going to start flopping or something. And I walked over to the door, and I opened it up real slow, and I looked in my barn. I didn't see him in my barn nowhere. I was like, now I know that armadillo didn't run away that fast, because my Cub tractor was sitting right there. I said, oh, well, I got to feed the rabbits and the cows anyway. So I took the flashlight, because my barn has no electricity in it. It's off-grid. So I took my flashlight, and I went back, and I was feeding the cows. And while I was feeding the cows, I poured the feed in the feed trough for my baby calves because I've just now got them where I can pet them a little bit. And I had my light kind of to the side because I didn't want to shine it in their eyes. And I was reaching in there petting them, and I looked out the corner of my eye, and that armadillo was about 3 feet from me. He thought he was hid in my barn, had his head sticking out from under the outside edge of the barn where he could run if he had to, and he thought he was hid. So I just turned around and walked all the way back out to my truck, got my gun, walked all the way around to the barn, and I kept shining downside the barn until I found him. There wasn't nothing but his eyes and his nose sticking out from under my barn, like that. So I shot him right on the end of the nose and the eyes, And the rascal went in the barn, went to flipping around, and went in there where my rabbits was, and bleeding all over my rabbit stuff in there. And I went in there, and he went out from under the barn, and got caught up under my cattle panels, leaning up against the outside of my barn. And I was like, I can't leave him here. I said, because the buzzards will be up here trying to get to him, and my barn will be stinking. And I said, this just is no good. So at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm out there dragging like 10 cattle panels down the side of my barn till I get him uncovered. Then I have to take something and flip him off out in the field out there, because I ain't touching him, because if they carry leprosy now. And I flipped him off out there where I could get him, where the buzzards could find him today. But that was all before 5 o'clock this morning.
And then this afternoon,
oh yeah,
he was walking around over at Pecan Grove, and I heard him shoot. And I'm like, what is he shooting in the daylight? You know, I mean, it was, gosh, what time was it?
It must have been about 2:30.
Yeah.
About 2:30 this evening.
Yeah, somewhere along in there. And I'm like, what is he shooting? And I went to see what he's shooting, and I said, what are you doing? Shooting at crows or something? He said, no, a raccoon in the daylight.
I was. We found a food source over, and we got a video coming up for patrons one day this coming week. We found a really good food source on our property at Pecan Grove, and I was just flipping out. I was looking at all this food everywhere, and I looked, and here's a big old raccoon.
Right up in the middle.
Right up in the middle of my food source.
Danny said he was hanging.
He was hanging, had one leg over here and one leg over here hanging on some vines. And he thought he was hid and he wasn't moving. And I'm like, you ain't eating my food. You know? So I took the shotgun and shot him and killed him. And Wanda come running.
I'm like, what are you doing?
She come over here, she goes, what are you doing? And I told her, I said, look laying out there. A big old raccoon. She said, well, why are you shooting him in the middle of the day? I said, look up above your head. Look in here. Look at all this. There's just food everywhere, you know?
Well, it wasn't just a raccoon, because I pulled up the camera. We've got a fox,
a possum, 3 deer,
3 different deer,
a small
house
buck.
cat.
Yeah, a house cat that must have weighed
That's
40.
the weirdest looking house cat I've
He
ever
had to weigh
seen.
40 pounds. We thought it was some kind of feral cat or something, but I believe it was a house cat.
The way
to be honest.
it looked weird from the back end, and it didn't look like a house cat to start with. We thought it was a giant raccoon.
Yeah.
But the tail didn't look like a raccoon.
Right.
And then when it started moving, I said, that's a cat. And when it did, it was slunk off. So I think it's a neighbor's cat.
I think it's one of the neighbors'
but
cats.
I mean, it was eating the food too.
It was eating the food also.
I was like, geez.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, this is a really good food source. And I told Wanda, I said, we ain't letting this go to waste. We are going to try to
Clean
work.
out around
We're going to clean out around this food source, because we didn't know it was there.
Well, I mean, we did, but we didn't know how big it was.
Yeah, we set a camera up there because we knew it was a food source, a small food source, but we didn't really pay attention to how big it was. And we said, well, we'll see what's coming, because I saw a few deer tracks and I saw a possum track on the ground and stuff. And I told her, I said, we'll just set a camera up for fun to watch and see what's coming here. But then we found out just how big it is. It covers an area of about, 100 square feet? I mean, 100 feet in each direction?
Probably. It's huge.
It may be that big or bigger, yeah.
I mean, I was really shocked at how many and how far up in the trees and all over. I mean, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Big food source.
Um,
So we're gonna capitalize on it, though, that's for sure. But
they're asking what kind of food. It was actually wild muscadines.
Yeah,
we knew they were there, but we didn't know how.
we're talking about hundreds of thousands.
All the way up. How tall is that tree?
The trees are like 40 feet tall, and
it's all the way to the top.
they're all the way to the top of the trees. They're, I mean, an area 100 by 100. I mean, there had to be hundreds of thousands of them things, and they're all ripe right now, just hanging. It looked like something you think about in the Bible when you think about when the children went into the promised land and they came back talking about all the grapes that they were. I looked up there, and it's just, the trees are just black.
Yeah, and we ate some of them, and they taste just like our tame ones here.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, the animals can have some, but in the future we want to capitalize on this too, because it makes really good grape juice. And two, I know I'm not supposed to give medical advice, so I'm not going to.
No, right.
But eating them is a really good source of, I don't know, what would you say? And they're purple.
Anthocyanins.
Yeah, that word.
Yeah, the anthocyanins are loaded.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the same size as the ones we got here.
Yeah, and I thought they were like little T90 things when Danny first mentioned them, but no, they're big.
These things are huge.
And
I mean,
so a muscadine is a type of grape.
It is in the
wild grape.
Wild grapes, yeah.
Yeah. And so we've just been having a good old time this week. Actually, it's been cooler for 3 days. We've had a cool front come through, if you want to.
We had a cool front come through it. Today it was only 90, and we thought we was going to freeze to death.
100.
Yeah. We was able to stay outside most all day today because it was only 90 degrees and the heat index only got to 100.
Yeah, he said, man, I don't know, we managed to stay out all day. I said it didn't get to 117, 118, 120.
Yeah.
I said it was only 100. I said that's 20 degrees difference. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
Hutch
said they harvested some popcorn.
Lots bumper
of
crop.
We love McCaskill's Family Farm. Yeah, McCaskill's Family Farm.
McCaskill's Family Farm. Yeah.
In Braggadocia, Missouri, y'all. If y'all want popcorn, it's organic. It's delicious. Danny has some almost every night.
Chris Trapp wants to know, how many more weeks of the 90-degree heat? Well, here where we live at.
Every week he says 2 more weeks.
I looked at my extended forecast again, and it says 2 more weeks. But the sad part is, at the end of the 2 weeks, we drop into the mid-80s. We probably have to have a jacket at that point. But we drop into the mid-80s, but then we have a hurricane that's supposed to be coming toward the end of September and the 1st of October, according to my sources. So I'm not looking forward to that. But we got 2 more weeks. The whole central part of the United States is going to be going under Texas, Oklahoma, up through Kansas, over to the Ohio River Basin, everything. Everybody's going to go back under a heat dome again. And it's supposed to last for 2 more weeks. Right. Shane says, I got the corn seeds.
Okay, now let me read this. Jennifer Ann Fox says, I ordered one of those bow knives for bread off your Etsy shop this week. Can't wait to get it. I'm sorry, Jennifer, we do not have those on our Etsy store, so you must not have been on our Etsy.
You wasn't on our Etsy store, that's for sure.
I don't have anything like that, and I don't know. I had somebody tell me that there was somebody impersonating us on Etsy, and I've not been able to find it. So if somebody does have a Deep South homestead that ain't us, let me know.
Yeah. Because we don't have anything like that. We only have a few seeds on ours and our books,
and we're almost out. I've got to pick some up Monday.
Wow.
And then I'm gonna have to order some more because I didn't order very many because I thought I had quite a few. But y'all, thank y'all. Y'all been ordering the books, and we forget we've done 2 sweet potato videos this week, and y'all know how many times we mentioned that book? 0.
We don't never mention the book, guys. It's our own fault. But there's lots of information in here. I mean, I'll show you. We have pictures in here. I take you along in my books, and I show you the pictures. Now, these are not pictures that we get off the internet. These are pictures from our own property here.
I take all the pictures. So
you know, we explain in detail, everything in detail, you know.
And if you can't read, the pictures will show you what to do.
Yeah.
That's what Danny said.
Well, the reason I've done it this way is because I'm a picture person. I like pictures. And, you know, I'll show you, I show different things on there. I show sweet potatoes. I show harvesting, you know.
Okay, Tracy, as far as I know, Weatherman Plus is okay. He did go to the hospital one night.
He had a blood pressure problem.
Yeah. But he does observe the Sabbath, so that might be why he's off right now. But he'll be back shortly.
Yeah. And that's what we know.
Yes. Etsy's bad about putting other similar
Okay.
stuff, and if you are not careful, you'll think you're in their store. Yes,
Yeah.
I thought that might be the case too, because it'll look like it's our store, and they'll pop similar items, and it's other people's store. So you have to kind of watch and see what they're telling you.
Okay, Robert Mitchell says, Danny, what else do you smoke in the Epic Smoker other than bacon?
Cheese.
Cheese. We've done jalapeno, mozzarella, cheddar,
Colby.
There's 2 or 3 others.
Monterey Jack.
Monterey Jack, different ones
If
like
you've
that.
never had smoked cheese, you need
look.
to try it, but do not hot smoke it.
Yeah, it's got to be
Just-
cold smoked. Anything over 80 degrees will melt it. You got to keep it cold. It's
Just-
got to be just smoked.
We have a video on it somewhere. Go look
And,
at it.
Oh my gosh, guys! Look, we do it.
Smoky cheese. I didn't think I'd like smoky cheese, but I do. I like smoky
We do a lot of it, and then when we get through, we put it in the freezer, and you better wrap it up good, because if you don't, everything in the freezer will smell like smoke.
We should have some Danny corn up maybe Monday. Y'all, it's all we can do with all the work we have to do every day, and he's got dates on the Danny corn in the freezer, so it
Yeah.
has to wait till that date. It has to be in there 2 weeks at least,
Yes.
and then it comes out. So, every couple of days there's a bag coming out. And then he has to bring it to room temperature, which takes about 24 hours to be safe. Then he has to go through it and make sure he takes out his cornmeal corn, and then we do the seeds. Then I have to weigh them and package them. And not only that, on the packages I have to stamp the front with its Danny corn, stamp the back with the Deep South thing. Then I have to weigh each package and seal it. Then I have to come in here and I have to put it in little envelopes for every 1 or 2. And then I have to go to my Etsy store and print out labels, because I print out my own labels. And it's a time, it takes time.
Consuming. It takes time consuming.
And I thought I had enough the other day and for yesterday, and I didn't. So we still got 20 to go.
Still got 20 more to go.
Finish orders, and then we will have some maybe Monday.
Yeah. Okay, Eric Francis says, cool thing, how did your belt and the other pieces your order for your meal ended up, or did it work? I finally got my sifter in. It came in. I showed it on the last live stream. I was able to retrofit all of my parts.
The belt came in.
The belt came in this week. Meadows Mills worked with me on the belt. They were really good about that. We did an even swap on the belt. No money really changed hands on that. They sent me a shipping label to ship the other one back. And right now, I just got to town yesterday and got some red paint to paint all my parts with. Now that I've got them retrofitted where they'll work. So now I
still got to
got
make the spout.
I've still got to make my grain spout where it comes off of the mill down into my sifter. I got to get the sifter mounted. Once I get everything painted and hooked back up, so I know how long to make the spout. I was going to make it out of wood, but I think I'm going to make it out of galvanized metal, so that it'll be easier on me if I make it out of metal, and it'll be easier to clean. So that's kind of where I'm at on that.
Yeah, it's a process, but shortly, within the next week or 2. We got our cheese, I think, at Walmart or Piggly Wiggly.
Well, some of it we get at the slaughterhouse. Cause
yeah, in the slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
They carry a type of cheese
Yeah.
there.
That's
But
just good cheese that
we
comes
get
from
the
the slaughter.
big slabs, like 1 or 2 pound slabs. You can
Yeah.
get it according to how much you want. I think some of it we got ½ pound, some pound, and maybe we even did we do any 2 pound? I can't remember if we went up to 2 pounds. I know
No.
we did just 1 pound.
We done mainly 1 pounds because it fits on our trays in our smoker real well. Somebody was asking. I try to go back here.
Somebody wanted to know about conferences. We don't really do conferences.
Laura, Montanero. My eyes are really bad. I'm sorry, Laura, but I do see Laura. We don't do conferences anymore because we actually run a real homestead now, and when you run a real homestead, you can't leave a homestead because no more than like 24 hours. And because if you do, your animals, crops,
you got to have
animals,
somebody to take care of
and
everything.
we don't have anybody. It's just us. We can't leave.
We did one conference back 7 years ago, 6 years ago.
That was before we had animals, though, really.
Well, we had neighbor girls.
Oh, one of the neighbors came over.
We had twin girls neighbors that took care of the goats and the chickens and everything. They loved our animals as much as we did. And they've since grown up and moved away. So
we don't have nobody no more.
We don't have anybody out here now.
Danny, do you think your corn will grow in Ontario, Canada?
We can't ship to Canada.
I can't ship corn to Canada. It's illegal. But we did have people in northern Minnesota grow our corn, and it made it all the way through.
How do you save seed from hot pepper plants? Very carefully.
You just let them mature on the plants, and when they reach their full maturity, you take them off, take the seeds out of them. Better wear gloves, and then just store them in let them dry, and then store them in a dry container.
Okay. Free range home with Trish said she saw us at that conference.
Yeah.
Right. There was probably 1,000.
There was 1,000 people at that one. Yep.
That were inside at one time. We don't know how many people were walking around.
I know
outside.
There was 1,000 inside. Regarding, let's see, this is Janice. Says, regarding the Danny corn, do you let the patron customers know about it, and if so, how? Thanks.
We did almost 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it sold out really fast, so only a limited amount of people got it, and y'all are blowing up my emails.
Yeah.
I mean, on top of having to process all this, cook, clean, and help with the projects we're working on. Plus, we dug sweet potatoes this week.
Oh,
too.
we dug all of our sweet potatoes up. Did we ever put that video up?
I got one more.
Okay, we got one more video coming on. Well, that's not all of our sweet potatoes, but that's that one field.
I've got emails. I've got messages on Etsy, emails, Aston. Every couple of 3 days, I will be putting some corn seed up. I just don't know when, and I don't know how much, because it's according to how much time we get to go through it and get it ready. For patrons, I put some up. It sold within 5 minutes.
Less than 5 minutes, we sold everything on Patreon.
And then last Saturday night, I believe it was.
Yeah.
At the end of the live stream, we told everybody that was still in the live stream that after the live stream, I was going over to Etsy and putting some up. And I did. I went over there and put some up, and it sold out within 5 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
I put some up a couple of days ago, and I think it took maybe 20 minutes. I didn't tell anybody. I just popped it up, except for 3 or 4 people that I had a message from, and I saw their messages, and I said, look, I'm putting some up now. I went and done it. I think within 15 minutes, 20 minutes, it was all gone. So I can't help you if you don't, I'm sorry. I try.
Mr. John says, when will you plant fall potatoes? Mr. John, it depends if it ever cools off. I am really beginning to think, I told Wanda this afternoon, I really believe what's going to happen this year is we're going to go from really, really hot temperatures until this El Nino is going to drop a wintertime pattern down in here, and we're just going to go to screaming, freezing cold. And if that's the case, more than likely I usually plant late September, early October, but we'll just have to see on the weather this year. Ms. Nadia has been asking several times, I've seen this, can you grow wild grapes in containers? And the answer is yes. They will grow, or wild muscadines, they'll all grow in containers. Matter of fact, you can't stop the things once you get them going.
Yeah. Let me see what I'm trying to read as it goes through.
My eyes, I can't hardly see it.
Cindy at Simple Backwoods. Would you please send me an email at deepsouthhomestead@gmail.com, please? Cindy at, what did I say? Simply Backwoods.
Let's see.
All right. Yeah, a lot of people were trying to get some, and it was very difficult. I didn't realize that you could sell out on Etsy that fast. I did not know.
We didn't know Etsy could handle anything that fast.
Yeah, I was like, oh man.
Ramona
Somebody
wants
wants to know where to get seed potatoes.
Well, this time of the year, you're probably not going to find a place to get them, but in the early spring, Hall's Tool is the best place we found if you want seed potatoes. Other than, we go to our local feed stores here in town where we're at, and we get our seed potatoes there. But usually, to be honest with you, we save our own potatoes from year to year. We've learned that if we plant them in the fall, then we have potatoes all the way through the year. We don't really have to worry. The only time we don't have fresh potatoes is from about the end of May till the end of September. That's about the only time we're not growing potatoes here.
Yeah, and I did plant some sweet potatoes in Danny's high tunnel, and the vines are beautiful. I don't know how many sweet potatoes will take you along on that in another couple of 3 weeks, because they were way behind what we put in the fields, but they haven't even bloomed yet. So they're just making vines, so we'll see how those do. We haven't harvested the Mr. Owl potatoes, and we haven't harvested the purple sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm fine.
JT.
I got to coughing because of
JT says he's getting
dryness.
ready to Monday to dig some sweet potatoes. I'm thinking we're going to be real thin. Joey, we thought we wasn't going to get anything.
We really didn't.
We really didn't. And to be honest with you, this next video we're putting up will probably shock you.
Yeah, we were very shocked.
I know I was shocked. We did it in the dark, basically, almost. But
Well, most everything we've done has been the dark lately.
If you live anywhere where it's not 100 degrees, consider yourself one of the most blessed people they are. Because everything we have to do has to be done in the dark.
Yeah, Danny starts he gets me up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm like, okay, can't we just sleep?
She said, can't we just sleep till 5:30 or 6 o'clock? I said, at
I'm
5:30 or
used
6
to 5:30
o'clock.
to 6.
I said, we got to be working by then. I said, you got to get out of that bed, girl. And
Y'all, it really, and so there's been times that he takes a nap several times during the week in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I have actually took a nap several times because you just got to get up early and work hard, and then come in and get you something to eat and take a nap. I mean,
Yeah.
and then go back out late.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's after 7 to 7:30 before we can go back out. Sometimes we've not even went back out at all. It's just too hot. Anyone have huckleberries? We have huckleberries here.
Yes.
I usually pick them every spring, and I put them in the freezer and just keep them for oatmeal. I make up oatmeal and just add them in like you would blueberries. You can add them into muffins. You can add them any way you use blueberries. You can use huckleberries. You can make huckleberry jelly, huckleberry jam, pies out of it. Use them any way you do blueberries.
Amanda says we planted turnips, carrots, beets, and radishes today. You must be a lot cooler where you're at, Amanda, than it is here.
Yeah.
Donna said I woke up the last 2 mornings. I woke up to 59 degrees in southwest Missouri, and we ain't seen. I think the coolest it got here one day last week was 69 degrees, and by 2 o'clock in the evening, it was 104.
All right, now Darlene is asking, will the sweet potatoes that have been through a drought cure differently?
You know what, Darlene, that's a good question. Because
we
ours,
find out.
when we literally dug ours out of the ground, it felt like they had just come out of the oven. I mean, I'm not lying. I mean, we put them in 5-gallon buckets, and we got to the house. I told Wanda, I said, we got to spread these out real quick, you know, because if we don't.
And there was no dirt on them.
No, there was no dirt.
Usually there's like a wet, you know, a little bit of dirt, and when you bring them in, the dirt dries and falls off.
Not this time.
This time it was just a potato with maybe a dusty film.
It looked like something you bought from the grocery store. They were that clean.
That was just about that clean, yeah. So we're really shocked. I made him a sweet potato dessert tonight. He's done been into it.
Yeah,
and,
you know,
we've had sweet potato fries a couple of times out of them. What else have we?
Oh, I don't know. Laura says, do all sweet potato plants bloom? If they're given enough time, they will.
Yeah.
But if you plant them too late, you know, they may not. But
Katrisa said she has our book and she grew 85 pounds of sweet potatoes. She said, thank you for teaching us. That's awesome. Do I have any new recipes to show y'all? I did a video a couple of days ago. I came in and I've had several people want me to show what I do with corn flour to make Danny's little muffins, and so I did that video, and we've been this is another thing we ain't even told them about, because we've been fighting fire ants this week.
Oh, Lord help us.
I mean, it has been one thing after another all week, and I told him, I said, I'm so tired. And just tired. I got up, let's see, what morning was it?
I don't even remember now. It's just been, it was one day this week.
Yeah. I went in there, and I had just washed dishes and cleaned up everything and walked in, and all of a sudden, I mean, there was nothing on my cabinets, and I went into the living room, come back, and there was fire ants all over my cabinet. I was so mad. I said, Danny, I said, somewhere we've got a spot, because if they can find one tiny little hole, they can come through. And we've had this before about 3 or 4 years ago.
3 or 4 years ago.
And Danny found that they were coming in under the house and found a little tunnel and was coming in through plug-ins. Well, we looked, it didn't look like they were doing that. We were killing ants and trying to get rid of them. I'd get rid of them, walk out of the kitchen, come back later, there's a line of fire ants. We did this, I think for 24 hours.
Or longer.
Maybe 2 days.
About 2 days of it,
and
yeah.
Danny finally, you caught something or filled a hole somewhere and said, hopefully that'll help. I done forgot now.
Well, we tried. I mean, I don't like using chemicals, you know.
He will not usually use chemicals,
and
but he did break down and
I did
use
have to
some
break
spray.
down and use some spray this time, because I sprayed them with WD-40. I sprayed them with everything I could think of, and nothing was stopping them.
And what was weird, he thought it was because I had just done some pears and they were coming to the pears. And I said, no, I did the pears on the bar and I didn't do them around the sink. And I had just washed the sink. The only place I had not cleaned was right by the stove. I had cooked the pears and I had laid the stirring stick, the spatula down by it. They didn't go over there. There was not one ant anywhere near the spatula that was sticky and whatever.
They didn't go to the sugar. That's what surprised us.
It was just weird.
Wanda has a bowl of sugar sitting on the counter that she uses for her coffee. They went right past that bowl of sugar and went to the honey. And I told her, I says, that's probably GMO sugar. I said, them stupid ants know the difference between GMO sugar and, you know, and I said, this is crazy.
Yeah, and so they did mess with the honey was the one thing. Then the next day there were no ants anywhere, and all of a sudden I walked in and they were all over my clean dishes in the drain board. And Danny said, okay, so maybe it's the dishwashing liquid. But I had a wet cloth laying there that had dishwashing liquid on it, and the ants never touched it. And I said, it can't be that. I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
But anyway, I did a video, get back to my story. I did a video and I haven't even looked to edit it, but I thought I was through with the ant thing, and as soon as I finished the video, I turned around and there was some ants on one of my cabinets. So I don't know if y'all will see a video or not.
Well, the thing about this, these are imported fire ants. What normally works for other ants will not work for imported fire ants.
No, nothing.
You can
kills
actually take on our tile countertops and take your fingers and mash them and roll them around, and they get up and run off. It doesn't
they
kill
have
them.
like a hard shell.
Yeah, it doesn't kill them.
I was just like, and then when we thought we had killed them with the spray, out of nowhere, there'll just be one on the cabinet. It doesn't fall from anywhere.
Right.
It doesn't crawl from anywhere. It's just there. They just manifest on the cabinet. I don't know how they're getting there.
Yeah, it's crazy. These things are from hell.
Uh,
They're part of Satan himself.
Yeah. So y'all might get a video and y'all might not. I've got to edit tomorrow because if not, y'all not getting nothing all week. It's just gonna be a total deep south blackout.
Laura wants to know, do we have a smaller grain mill as well as a large one? They was thinking about purchasing a Nutri-Mill. Nutri-Mill, any thoughts?
That's one we bought one time and I didn't like.
No, we bought a Wonder Mill.
Oh, that's it. I bought a Wonder Mill. I did not.
We did not like the Wonder Mill. We have the one now, the Victoria, which is a hand crank. It's really hard to do unless you're physically strong. The Nutri-Mill, I think you can grind your nut butters and all that kind of stuff with it also, like peanut butter and all. It should work okay, Laura, as far as I know.
The ants move through portals. I'm beginning to think
I believe they do. I really believe.
I mean, I told Danny they were possessed,
Yeah.
obviously. The Dawn Platinum.
Huh?
This works on fire ants. Dawn Platinum foam on a dish rag. Okay, so Danny wanted me to go back to Dawn because I don't use Dawn. I used to use it all the time, and I went to, I don't remember what.
You got Ajax now.
Ajax, I think,
Yeah.
or something. And he said, you need to go back to Dawn. So Dawn Platinum, we'll see. Dee says she loves her Wonder Mill.
Ours made too much dust.
It just blew it out all over
Yeah.
the room. And I had it all attached like it's supposed to, but every time we turned it on, everything in my kitchen got covered in dust. And I said, nah.
No, we didn't use it but twice and sold it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any broccoli advice?
Gail from 7B says, any broccoli advice? Gail, if you're going to plant broccoli, you need to be putting your seeds in the ground probably the middle of September. And make sure your grounds is definitely got a lot of compost in it, and a lot of blood meal and bone meal in it. To make sure that these things, broccoli is a very time-sensitive plant. It only has so much time to grow its head before it flowers. And if you do it right, you can grow an 8 or 10 inch head on that thing and get lots of shoots off the sides on it once you cut the head out of it. But you got to have some really rich soil and you got to keep it moist.
All right, can you store garlic in the fridge for fall planting?
Yeah, you can, but I have never been successful with stratification from garlic in the deep south. Now, if you live up north, it might be a different thing. But in the deep south, the only garlic we've been able to get a big bulb from has been elephant garlic because it seems to work out better for us.
Can you recommend a method for pressing sorghum stalks?
Sorghum is so small, you almost have to have a sorghum press to do it with. I don't really think a sugar cane mill. You can adjust the rollers in tight enough to do it, but really you need a sorghum mill to do it with.
All right, Jared Phillips, is there anything you can do going forward to make sure your pine stock will survive next 3 years? I jumped of this credit, it's heat dome.
Jared, I don't know if there's anything we can do to these ponds. At Pecan Grove, the pond over there's got 5 running streams in it, and it's down about 2.5 foot now. So
our water levels
crazy here. We have not had any rain, measurable rain, in probably 3 to 4 months, and we've had over 100 days. Even the last 3 days, even though it's been cool in the morning, we're still getting over 100-degree heat index every day. Today was 100 degrees. Today the heat index was the actual coolest day we've had in 3 months, and it was still 100-degree heat index.
All right, Sheila Stewart wants to know, can you make syrup from figs? Yes.
Yes.
I've been eating fig syrup on my waffles and pancakes for the last couple of weeks. What I do is when I make Danny's whole figs, and so you have to put them in a boiling mixture and then jar them up, and there's always some liquid left over, which is sweet because you're putting some sugar in it. And then I turn that into a syrup. I add a little more sugar to it and make a fig syrup. And it's really, really good on anything. Where you at?
Danny, hold on. Danny, do you take the, this is Sue Ann says, Danny, do you take the outer shell of the garlic clove off when you're planting? No, I leave mine on. I do not take it off.
Rick Hollingsworth, we are actually in South Mississippi. We're 30 miles from the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
What type of fertilizer is good for collards? Collards are heavy nitrogen feeders, so you need to make sure you've got some good composted chicken manure, or you've got some blood meal that's been put in the ground like 2 or 3 months ahead of time. Or just get some good old triple 13, whichever one you feel more comfortable with using.
Yeah, Sweet Pea says they're in the deep south too, and they've had problems with ants. What was really crazy is we've not had a problem with ants this year.
No.
For the most part,
we don't even have any ant beds in the yard.
No. Or over at Pecan Grove, we weren't seeing mounds of ants anywhere, and we made that statement maybe a week or two ago, that we hardly saw any fire ants, and it rained those 2 days, and it was right after that they popped up. So we think that the rain brought them to the surface.
Drop Family's Homestead said, y'all probably near the Macs? No, the Macs are almost 2 hours north of us.
They're middle Mississippi, kinda.
Yeah.
We're really close to the coast. Anybody know what type of bugs eat rutabaga leaves? They are attacking ours horribly.
It could be anything on rutabaga leaves. Rutabaga leaves, it could be grasshoppers, it could be flea beetles, it could be slugs, it could be just about anything.
All right, Pastor Scott wants to know, did I always know how to can and preserve, or did I learn it when I married Danny? My mama...
Yo, mama.
I think she... Okay, my mom always canned, but she put a lot of things in the freezer. But she did put in jars green beans, jellies, jams, that sort of stuff, and tomatoes. But when I married, when I was a teenager, that family always canned. They put a lot of stuff in the freezer, but they did can some. And by the year 2000, I was canning almost everything. I was putting a lot of stuff because of Y2K.
Everybody, the world was going to come to an end.
Everybody was going to think the world's coming to an end. So I canned a lot of stuff back then. And that's really when I really put a lot of stuff in jars. Later, when I went through a divorce and stuff, I was on my own. I didn't can anything, didn't have a garden, didn't do anything till I met Danny. And he was canning up a storm, and I said, well, I know how to do that. And so he turned it all over to me, and I'm like,
Okay, Tip Top Girl says, Danny, what's the best way to get rid of yellow jackets in the yard? A hole in the ground. Wait till after dark. Please wait till after dark. Go outside and take you a container of gas that can pour really, really fast, and like a big giant cup, like a Solo cup, full of gas, and go out there and just pour it down the hole of that yellow jacket nest, and take your foot and push dirt over the whole of that yellow jacket nest so they can't get out, and the fumes from that gas will kill every one of those yellow jackets.
Stripper Sniper says, should I dig up my potatoes? I'm in Maryland, northeast.
When should I dig up my potatoes? Now,
Yeah,
I hope you're
when?
talking about sweet potatoes. If you're talking about regular potatoes,
But if he's in Maryland, he might have regular potatoes.
if you're in Maryland, if it's regular potatoes, you got to wait till the plants start to die. But if it's sweet potatoes, it's like 100, anything after 100 to 125 days.
Oh my goodness. Jean Blair said there was babying a 20-pound pumpkin and a raccoon got it. Oh my goodness.
No. That's the reason Danny gets rid of all the raccoons.
Don't use a solo cup. They'll melt. Yeah, I was going to say
My solo cups do not melt. I put gas in them all the
I
time.
don't know what kind you got, but they...
It's in plastic solo cups. Now, I'm not talking about a styrofoam one. A styrofoam one will melt, but
Yeah,
a plastic
styrofoam.
one, because your gas can's made out of plastic. I mean, a plastic solo cup works fine.
Yeah.
I use them all the time. Do you can butter? I know you aren't supposed to, but many do. Pamela wants to know that. Yes, we have canned
I have
butter.
videos on it. I started maybe 5 years ago canning butter.
Yeah.
I've not done any recently. I watched Starry Hilder. I know it's been 5 or 6 years ago. She did a canning butter thing, and so I followed what she did, and I had really good success with it. Most of mine, I think some of it lasted at least 4 years, and it was still good. Last year or the year before, I can't remember, it was sometime last year, I canned some, and I think I had about half of them fail. So I didn't know if I did not get my butter quite hot enough, or it started cooling off when I was jarring it, because you got to keep it pretty hot when you jar it up, and I did
Actually,
something different.
To be safer, doing ghee is probably safer than
Yes,
butter.
ghee is a lot safer.
Ghee is a lot safer than
And
butter.
So at some point in the future, when Danny and I get through with a few projects, I plan on doing ghee the next time. But I have done butter like about 5 or 6 times, and
Yeah.
most of the time mine last anywhere from 3 to 5 years.
Yeah. A lot of people say they have problems with solo cups. I have a whole stash of them in my barn.
Yours is old though.
I put gasoline in mine to wash my paintbrushes out with. I leave a paintbrush sitting in them overnight. Mine don't melt with gas in them.
You may have some that's 15 years
No,
old.
they're not that old. We just bought them here when we were making bacon.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I was using them to mix the sugar and everything, and so they're not.
Lots of stuff around here is like really old.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff that's really old.
He starts looking for those. He says, I need this. Wait, I have it in the shop. Anytime you're here and you say, well, if you only had, Danny goes, I have it in the shop.
I have it in the shop. Gail says, will chicken poo help my broccoli? Only if you've composted it. Don't put it on there fresh. If it's composted, yes, it's good for it, but don't do it.
I do not egg glass.
We tried egg glassing. We weren't really happy with it. We just didn't.
I like my eggs fresh. I do have some freeze dried. I have done frozen eggs before. I do that. But I like my eggs fresh. I'd much rather have fresh eggs. And as a backup, I do have my freeze dried eggs. Plus, I think I bought from My Patriot Supply the, what do you call it? The number 10 cans.
Yeah.
I think I bought one of those of eggs, because I know I have their honey, their peanut butter, their milk. I bought the number 10 cans of all that kind of stuff just to have as an extra. And for those of you that use My Patriot Supply, they are having a Labor Day weekend sale.
Labor Day weekend
While
sale.
I'm thinking of it, use
Yep.
our Deep South link and go check out My Patriot Supply. If you didn't grow a lot of stuff, My Patriot Supply is one way to have some extra with storms coming up. One way to have something in case the power goes out. One of the things that I usually buy from My Patriot Supply is, right now they have the 1 week supply for $49, which is a good deal. It has some decent food. It'll keep you alive for a week. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, as bad as the crops has been this year, guys, if you want to be stable with your food, you know, My Patriot Supply is a pretty good way to go. I mean, me and Wanda, even though we raise all of our own food, we still go to My Patriot Supply and we buy some things like the powdered butter, powdered honey, powdered peanut butter, things of this nature, and we have it in storage just in case something goes wrong and goes wacky. You know, we got something to fall back on.
Because see, I can't freeze dry butter. I don't guess. I think that's one thing.
Too much oil in it.
Too much oil in it.
Yeah.
But they have the canned butter that is a powder. Now they have a different process that's used for it, but still it is like using butter. So if you're hooked on butter and you don't think you can get away from not using butter, that's a good way to have butter. The honey, the powdered honey, is just phenomenal. It's good to have on hand.
It is. I like the powdered honey. It's really, really good. And the powdered peanut butter is pretty good too.
Yeah, I've used powdered peanut butter several times.
And the powdered buttermilk. Darlene's
the milk and buttermilk. Oh, I love powdered buttermilk too because it makes everything taste a little better. So My Patriot Supply is a good place to order some of those things. And like I say, they do have the kits where you can order food. I've tried several of their foods. I like most all of them. Now their orange drink I wasn't really happy with. Something about the taste of it. It's got a lot of vitamins and minerals, and if you're sick, it's good to have that on hand. And I have some, but I'd have to be sick to drink it. I'm a water person. So
Dennis says, Danny, is it too early to plant spinach, to start spinach in little peat things in southeast Louisiana? It's a little early for spinach. I would wait till mid-September before I started.
Debbie, you can freeze dry milk and buttermilk. I had a friend that was bringing us some fresh milk from his cow, and I would take and use some of it, and some of it had cream in it too. And if I thought I didn't get it used within 3 or 4 days, I'd pour it in my freeze dryer tray and freeze dry it. So I have some fresh cow's milk freeze dried, and then buttermilk's the same way. You can do that.
People are talking about using vinegar instead of Roundup. I do agree with that, but let me tell you something. The new vinegar will not work. You're going to have to go with agricultural vinegar, which is 25%, but be very careful with it, because if you get it on you, it will burn you.
And it will kill plants.
It will kill it.
Kind.
It'll kill stuff to the ground. I mean, and you don't have to worry about it.
Your stuff.
Yeah, don't get it on anything that you want to keep. That's for sure.
Miss Lippy, can you put up our link for My Patriot Supply?
Somebody already did.
preparewithdeepsouth.com or something like that, I think. I think My Patriot Supply is preparewithdeepsouth.com. It's similar anyway. And My Patriot Supply
it's in the link. It's in the link in our. Yeah, it's in the link in the description.
It does have gluten-free foods too. While I'm thinking of it. Plus, they have a whole lot of section on books. They have any kind of survival gear and stuff like that. We have our Alexa Pure from there. And they have an Alexa Pure pitcher. For all of y'all last year when we were giving away the Alexa Pure pitcher, I saw they had them on sale. So if y'all want an Alexa Pure pitcher, go check it out, because some people wanted them and they didn't get them last year. What winter crop would grow in poor soil, sandy loam, and low pH?
Well, you're going to have to raise that pH up there, Ted. You need to get you some fireplace ashes and get that pH up there. But any of your cool weather brassicas will grow fine, because we live in pure sand here where we're at, just about. And we grow all kinds of winter crops here. I mean, broccoli, cabbages. You can go back and look at our videos. We got some of the prettiest cabbages we've ever had. Our broccoli does well.
Somebody's saying something about I only drink I don't know how you say that, mineral water.
Okay, Ball Homestead, I think it's that Ball. Yeah, Ball Homestead says, where can you get agricultural vinegar? You can order it online. You can order it from Amazon. You can order it all over the place. I mean, You just have to just be careful with it when you get it. Keep it away from kids, though.
Okay, so Raw Food Rider wants to know, is it too early to plant fruit trees in Pennsylvania?
I would think it's too early to plant fruit trees unless they're already potted. Now, if they're already potted and they haven't had the taproot cut off and just stuck in a pot, but if they've been grown in the pot, you probably can grow them. You can grow them any time of the year, to be actually truthful. But you can't bare root or anything like that until they're dormant.
I think it was preparewithdeepsouth.com.
Lippy put it up a while ago. You keep looking. She keeps putting it up.
Somebody said it was going to a page not found. I don't know. I thought that's how ours was done. Okay. Where are we at?
Okay. Art of today said the yard worker put Roundup on my compost pile. Should I let it go or mend it? I would let it go because Roundup, it's an herbicide. It's going to stay there for quite some time. So I would just let it go. I'd get rid of it and start over. It's not worth losing your crops over.
All right, so where are we at? Life with Mike and Jen. Big jug of cheap vodka works as well. Used it on the deep taproot weeds. It's like $9 for a handle. I didn't know vodka would work.
Now that's a new one on me, Jen. Leave it to Jen though. Jen knows all this stuff. The girl's like a walking encyclopedia. I mean.
Okay, y'all. Cheap vodka on deep roots. You mentioned.
Now, Corey wanted to know, would agricultural vinegar kill Kogon grass? I have never used it on Kogon. When on Kogon, I use Miracle Grow and 41% Roundup mixture on Kogon twice a year. As a matter of fact, we had probably a quarter of an acre we found over at Pecan Grove, and we sprayed it this past spring, killed all of it, but 2 or 3 little patches about 3 or 4 feet in diameter we found, and we're supposed to hit it again in September, they told us. So we're going to hit it again in September, and then we're going to disc the fool out of it, and hopefully we will have it under control.
Ted Vickner, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Ted.
What is a good way to wash out a blue 5-gallon drum?
55-gallon drum.
Oh, okay.
Look, Richard, the first thing is you got to know what was in that drum to start with. You don't just take a chance. If it had apple cider vinegar in it or something like that, that's fine. You can just wash it out with a good Dawn dishwashing soap or something. But not knowing what was in it, some chemicals cannot be washed out of plastic.
Yeah. Kathy said that 45,000 mail carriers didn't get paid Friday.
Whoa,
Ooh.
That ain't good.
All right.
One more rock said, I wouldn't want to waste vodka on weeds. That'd be a tough call, I'll tell you now. That'd be a tough call.
All right, let's see where we're at. Let's see. Picked up a 20-gallon tub of pears today. Going to make pear sauce for the grandbabies. Oh, we use pear sauce a lot. I add it to like Danny's muffins and stuff that I make. I add it to yogurt. Anything like that. I love adding pear sauce, or like I do applesauce.
Okay, Gracedale Farm says, any tips to prevent scabs on Irish potatoes grown in containers? If you have scabs, or like we call it alligator skin on potatoes, normally what's the problem is your soil is too alkaline. You need to acidify the soil just a little bit more, because potatoes need a soil pH of about 5 to 5.5 to grow really good. If it's above that, then your potatoes will get a scab on them, or they'll get what we call alligator skin or something like that.
Let's see.
Oh, Jen said it was rotten gut vodka. She said they used it to clean paintbrushes and everything.
Oh my goodness. Mr. Danny, can you grow Danny corn in large raised beds?
As long as you can get enough stalks in there for pollination. That's the biggest thing. Because you have to plant in blocks. You can't plant it in rows, but you can plant it in blocks like, a 10 by 10 area or 8 by 10 area, something like that. You could put some stalks in there and do it that way. But if you do that, you're probably going to have to put something like steel fence post around it with rope around it or something to keep it from blowing over, because it's going to get pretty tall. Raised beds, the soil in it is usually so soft that it will blow over because it gets really tall.
All right, Karen Smith wants to know, she canned her tomatoes cold out of the fridge and water bathed them for 2.5 hours. Do you think that's enough time? Tomatoes usually don't even water bath that long, so if you went that long, they should definitely be okay.
Fine.
Maybe a little overdone, but you've got stewed tomatoes.
You got stewed tomatoes for sure.
A lot of people are making salsa. I've seen 2 or 3 with salsa. Have you ever made pear honey?
Yeah.
I think I did last year.
We made it last year, yeah.
I did. Now this year our pears were a total flop.
Yeah,
it got cold, they were bloomed out, and we got a freeze. So we got a few pears, not even enough to can, and I cut them up and made up some chunky pear sauce, and we're just going to eat it and use it over the next few weeks. What is the advantage of having a full-size Dexter cow versus a miniature Dexter?
We have both of them. We have the miniatures and we have the full-size ones. It's all about, the only difference that we really know out of it is how much pasture and grass you need. The bigger Dexters have to have a little bit more pasture and a little bit more grass. The smaller Dexters don't have to have as much grass and as much pasture to survive on. I mean, that really, and when you talk about miniature versus full, you're only talking about 6 inches of height. I mean,
there's not a lot of difference.
There's not a lot of difference in them.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, one of ours looks like she's almost the same size as the...
She is tall as my bull.
Yeah, so I mean, there's not a whole lot of difference in them.
Yeah, we're past our time. I just looked down there. We're 5 minutes after 8.
Are we?
Yes, we've already been on an hour.
Oh, well. How do you make your pear sauce? I just take and put my pears in a pot with a little bit of water, add some sugar, and keep cooking them till they start getting soft.
Yeah.
And I mash them up. And if they need a little bit more sugar, I add it. But usually he doesn't like them real sweet. This last ones I got too sweet. He said they were really sweet. But put sugar to taste, and then if you want to jar them up, add the sauce to. I do little jars like the 1/4 pints and stuff, or 1/2 pints, and then you water bath can them. Don't ask me how long. It's probably 15 minutes or 20. I don't know, something like that.
Havana says, do you sell any of your homegrown vegetables to the public, or fruits or anything like that? No, we don't sell anything we have. We used to, but we don't anymore. How much do Dexters weigh, Danny? Ours weigh anywhere between 500 and 800 pounds when they're grown. They're not real big cows. Now my bull probably goes 1,000 pounds or better, but my cows are probably around 600 to 800 pounds.
How do you get a raccoon out from under the house? Danny's really good with raccoons now.
You bait him.
7 here and 2 at Pecan Grove.
Yeah, you just bait that joker up at nighttime. You go throw some of your food scraps out there in the backyard and sit there and wait with a gun sticking out the window of the house or something other, and he'll go right out there to them food scraps, and when he does, you just shoot that joker.
3 or 4 at Pecan Grove, because you got 2 out of the Danny corn.
I got 4 out of the Danny corn.
Okay, and then 2.
I got 2 other ones.
So 6 at Pecan
I've got
Grove.
6 at Pecan Grove.
And 7 here. So no.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking skunks. 7
No,
skunks.
I got 7 skunks here.
That's
I hadn't
it.
killed any raccoons here.
No, you hadn't.
I got rid of all of them the year before. I got 9 here the year before.
Yeah. Canning classes, no. I don't have time anymore to do canning classes. I really don't even do canning videos anymore. I will be doing some sweet potatoes before long, and I might do a sweet potato video, but I have like 4 or 5 of them up. So, you know, I hate doing the same thing every year. I know, but most people won't go back and look at them. But just type in sweet potatoes deep south or green beans deep south or, you know, whatever deep south, and usually there's a video, because I used to do canning videos all the time.
The art of today says Danny and raccoons have got a love-hate relationship. I have nothing against raccoons. Really, I don't. I used to have pet raccoons, but the rascals destroy everything I have. My food sources, they just get into them and they eat up all my food. They tear down my corn. They eat my fruit tree stuff on my fruit trees. They get in my muscadines. I mean, and I can't handle that. They eat my pears, they eat my figs, and I just get upset. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, so people are putting up prayer requests. Last week we asked that you pray for Ashley's family. She passed away as a friend of ours. This week, a friend of mine before I met Danny, she passed away this week, and they had her funeral yesterday.
Yes.
And so we want to remember Martha's family, and trying to think. Miss Allison had a niece that gave birth to twin boys, and then she had issues and had to go on a vent for a while, but I think she's, from what I heard today, I think she's sitting up, talking now, doing better. But we still want to remember them, and one of the little boys. I can't remember if he had to go in the NICU or something. I have never done a tomato pie.
I've heard of tomato pies.
I think I've eaten one before, and I really wasn't thrilled with it. I like my tomatoes with mayonnaise and bacon and lettuce on a sandwich. That's my favorite way to eat a tomato. Let's see.
Okay, well, it's about time for us to pray.
So there's a lot of prayer requests.
Yeah, there's a lot of prayer requests coming up here. So we're going to go ahead and pray. Father, we come to you tonight. Lord, it's been a decent week this week. Can't complain. We do pray that you'll, at some point, Father, you'll help us have a break from this heat dome that just keeps coming back over our country here. I know I actually showed Wanda the scriptures the other night in Deuteronomy chapter 28 where the heat dome is actually in the Bible as a curse upon a nation. And the drought is a curse upon a nation. The famine was a curse upon a nation and all. And we said as we read that, we looked and said, you know what? It definitely points a finger at America being a nation that has been cursed by God. And Father, I pray for our country tonight. I pray for your people in the country that's being cursed, Father. The country itself deserves what it's getting, to be honest with you, because it shook its fist in your face. And now we're sitting here praying for your people in this nation, Father, that you'd take care of them and that you'd help them to be able to survive all the problems that we're having. I mean, it's been a bad heat year for us, but you know what? We've made it through it. You've been good to us. We've had the best crops we've ever had on a lot of areas. Our potatoes has made more than we thought they would. You've been really good, Father, through the heat. It's kind of took its toll on our bodies, though. And we just ask for now for some cooler weather, if you find in your heart to grant that to us. Lots of people having some problems with cancer and treatments and stuff like that, Father. We just pray that you'll be with them and help them out there, Lord, that they can go through their treatments well and get rid of the cancer. And Lord, and lots of other people having surgeries. One said that her husband was septic, and Lord, and having surgeries and stuff. And I pray for all these people, Lord, whether it's spiritual, physical, mental, financial. Lord, we all have problems, and we're not immune. Wanda and I have physical issues every day of our life here. And we are constantly going to you in prayer, speaking healing upon our bodies so that we can continue to live throughout the life that we have to live here, Lord, and we're able to be sustainable in doing so. And I pray for all the people that's here tonight, Father, that they can find the financial means that they need to be able to purchase the things that they need to be able to be sustainable. And the people of Hawaii there in Maui, Lord, where the energy weapons was used to burn the places up, and Lord, in Florida, where Adelia went through there and wreaked havoc all up the East Coast there and all. And Father, I'm praying for all the people that's been displaced. I see up in Michigan and all the places up there where power outages and stuff from these derechos that go through there, and Kentucky and all the different places being flooded. And Lord, it's just so much going on in a nation. And Father, we can't say anything because we've shook our fist in your face. But Lord, have mercy on your people here tonight. And Father, we will be careful to give you the honor, the praise, and the glory for all things. We ask this in Christ's name. Amen. Oh. Wow, Drops Family Garden says skunks are like 30 plus pounds there.
Ooh.
Whew, that's like a dog.
We saw it was a raccoon on one of the trail cams.
And one of our trail cameras, we seen a raccoon.
That was the skinniest looking thing I've ever seen.
We saw a freaky looking raccoon.
It looked like a squirrel, but it had a raccoon tail.
Yeah.
It was that little, so it either was.
Lisa
very
said
sick.
BJ's treatments is still going good. Thank you for your prayers.
Yes.
Amen, Lisa. Tell BJ we still pray for him. Oh man.
All right, so where are we at?
We got a little bit of a time lag there. Everybody's, or the time lag is on us. It ain't on them.
Yes, it is.
Oh, man.
Tip.
I was telling Wanda this afternoon that it is the time of the year now to start thinking about your fall crops. My tip of the night is going to be start getting your preparation ready for your fall crops. I know the extended forecast shows we got about 2 more weeks of heat here, and we usually try to start our onion seeds around the end of September, and the 1st of October we try to get our carrot seeds in the ground. We try to have our onions up so that we have sets by mid-November to set in the ground to plant. And broccoli and cabbage, we usually try to start that by the end of September so that we have some good little plants. Time, cool weather gets here in mid-October and stuff. Now this is for Zone 8. Now this may not be where you live at, but it's for Zone 8. And my tip for tonight is going to be start looking at your cool weather seeds. We plant our Irish potatoes for our fall crops, toward the end of September here in Zone 8. And guys, I'm telling you, this year is going to be the year you better make sure you got your food supply in order. That's the reason we gave you the information we did about My Patriot Supply and trying to get you some dry goods. Now, we have a freeze dryer, but we can't freeze dry peanut butter. We can't freeze dry honey. We can't freeze dry, stuff to this nature like that. We get that kind of stuff so that we have it on hand. Peanut butter, we can't do peanut butter freeze dry.
I love peanut butter. That's one of my staples.
Peanut butter is good for your blood sugar. It helps to stabilize blood sugar. There's lots of things like that we try to keep it in, stored up. And another tip, if you do order from somewhere like My Patriot Supply, when that can comes in, take you an indelible marker, one that will not, race off the can, and on the top of that number 10 can, write the date that you got it.
And what I do is I look on the side of the can. If it says it's good for 5 years, I write, okay, I bought it August 23, and it's good for 5 years. I write used before August 2028. Or if it says it's good for 30 years, I add 30 years to the date I bought it.
Yes.
That way, if you've got the date you bought it and used by date written on the top of the can, you'll see it every time you look at it.
And if you open it,
you gotta
write the date on the top of it that you open it and your used by date.
Yeah, go ahead and use it within, I would say, 2 weeks to 30 days. Like these big cans of milk, use them within 30 days or so. But some of the things that you open, you need to use within a week to 2 weeks. Some of them don't last as long once they're opened.
Yeah.
I know strawberries, once you open if you get the big can of strawberries, you pretty much need to do something with them because they'll just get real soft and mushy in our atmosphere down here because we got a lot of humidity.
Yeah. Yeah, so that is, our tip for tonight, those are the couple of tips actually there. But you need to start going through your seeds, looking and seeing what you can grow because, guys, I'm telling you, this year is really important because the information I'm getting down through the grapevine, let's just say that, is that next year food is going to be really, really worse than it is this year. This year prices went up exponentially. I mean, it's like screaming high, some of these prices this year. Next year they're saying prices are going to be even higher and the availability of some foods is going to be even more scarce. So even if you don't do nothing but planting 5-gallon buckets or get you a green stalk or make you a little raised bed or your flower beds under the eave of your house, whatever, just grow bags, you can get them things on Amazon for little or nothing. Start growing something. Just do the best you can do to help supplement your grocery bills.
Okay, Lisa asked a couple of times, and she said, baby chicks, are they better with a hen or in a brooder?
Baby chicks are always better with a hen because the mama can take better care of them. But if a brooder's all you can do, then do what you can do. We've raised them in a brooder many times and done just fine. But a mama chick it's always going to be better. I mean, you can't beat nature.
Yeah. And just make sure that they are protected from from other things. Let's see. I think sprouting makes more sense for most people. A lot of people do like to do sprouts.
Yeah.
But now you need a lot of seeds.
It takes a lot of seeds to do sprouting. That's the one thing about it.
You have to order. I think My Patriot Supply has seeds for sprouting. I know Hoss Tools does too. You can get the packages for sprouting the seeds, and I did some in containers that I got from Hoss Tools, and I actually like them. They're really good in salads and stuff. But once that goes away, they don't just keep. A lot of them don't just keep growing. So once you use them, you get a one-time thing with some of these sprouted seeds, and so it costs a lot of money to keep buying seeds just to sprout.
Yeah.
So the microgreens.
You got to look at what's sustainable. If sprouting, if you have to buy all your seeds for sprouting, then it's not going to be sustainable. That's what we keep looking at.
Yeah. Yeah, My Patriot Supply does have the sprouting seeds. I thought they did. All right.
Oh.
We've got to go, guys. I got a few more seeds.
We gotta
count out.
We gotta go count out.
Way out.
Well, now Monday is Labor Day, guys, so we're not gonna be able to get stuff out. There's gonna be no mail on Labor Day.
Yeah.
And there's no mail tomorrow, so please be patient. It'll take a few days to get this stuff in the mail because of holidays. Now, I don't do holidays personally. I don't believe in them. If you actually go back and do the history on holidays and look at them, countries do holidays so that they can destroy the country. Now, I know that may sound crazy, but holidays were created in order to control the people and to be able to cause controversy. So I don't do holidays. And that's one reason I know why they were created by the governments, and I'm not happy with it, so I don't really make me any difference because every day is the same for me.
All right. So guys, we gotta go. We've enjoyed tonight. Hope you guys did. All right.
Did you click off of this down here?
Nope.
You got. That's always got to be first, baby.
First.
It's always got to be first.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good weekend. We'll see y'all next week.
Wait, and Astomia says I cannot find something about Patriot Supply.
Oh, the number 10 cans. I can't remember how it's listed on my Patriot Supply, but
They
it's
can't find the powdered honey or milk.
it's in the number 10 cans. You have to look through. Usually, I think at the top it lists different things, but it says something about cans, I think. I'm not 100% sure how, but anyways, it's in a can. It's not in anything else. They don't have